strong, empowered, authentic.
What's up, Ginger Nation? This is Tosh.
This is Darin, and you are listening to the Authentic
Ginger Podcast. Welcome back, Ginger Nation. I'm Tosh Taylor.
And I'm Darin Roach, and welcome to the Authentic Ginger Podcast.
And it also happens to be Valentine's Day when we're recording today, so happy Valentine's Day.
Yes, and you as well. Speaking of Valentine's Day, before I get into where I've been for the last couple of weeks, because it's been a roller coaster, I'm wondering, now just check this out. Are redheads attracted to other redheads? Do you see this?
There's a few things going around, and I think that the major thing is that a lot of redheads will avoid redheads so that people don't think they're siblings. That's
a great point. Because I was starting to think, I have Valentine's Day and all this kind of stuff. Valentine's week, really, a weekend for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. You often wonder, if I'm a redhead, am I going to be attracted to other redheads? And if I'm not, why? Yeah. And maybe that sister brother thing is probably likely at the top. Sometimes I'm wondering if other redheads find other redheads attractive, right? So it's the month of love. I was just thought I'd throw that out there to start here to see where we would go with it.
Oh, 100%. I definitely find other redhead men attractive for sure.
Do you?
Yeah. But I tend to stay away, I suppose. Well, I mean, I've also been with my husband for 20 years, but there's that. There's a couple actually that I watch on Instagram. I was just looking them up. It's Scarlett O'Hare. She has crazy long, red, gorgeous, stunning hair. And her boyfriend is voices of Jake. And he also has really long, almost like Owen James' style hair.
Okay.
Like the long curly hair. And they're together. They're a couple. But they have joked a few times about how people are finding them like siblings because they both have red hair, which is ridiculous. You wouldn't say that to two brunettes that were dating or two blondes 100%. That were dating, right? So
yeah, 100%.
But anyway, they're super cute and I love them, and I would actually love to have this conversation with them on the podcast sometime.
Then we shall do that.
Okay,
we shall hit that, and now that'll be in my inbox. Able to go and do that. Try to find some more awesome redheads that we can have conversations with. So, to our listeners, you may have noticed that we've done some replays over the last couple of weeks, and I think it's worth mentioning why that is. It's nothing major, but certainly minor. I've had some issues with what we call kidney stones at a very young age. To me, 46 is super young. So I thought, wow, this can't be happening to me. But certainly it did. It came through, and I'm still not out of the woods yet with it. I've been through several procedures. I've got a really funny story to tell you about this whole thing, because it's been 3 weeks of just up and down, up and down. I've been at the hospital more than, the average person would visit the hospital in probably 4 or 5 years. I've been there, I don't know, maybe 7 times in the last 3 weeks, to the point where when I get into triage, they're asking me if I have my Air Miles card. You're here so much. But I do have a funny story. So last week, I guess probably about 2 weeks now, 2 weeks ago, I was in for a procedure, and I was in radiology in the local hospital here, and the procedure was going fine. Everything went great. But at the very end of the procedure, like, no word of a lie, the very end of the procedure, just as he was just wrapping up and putting bandages on me, the power goes out.
Okay. Was that during the ice storm of Nova Scotia last week?
Well, you know what? It was not. So what it was next door in another room, there was an electrical fire that started.
What?
Yeah, an electrical fire started, and the nurses are in the, because there's the room I'm in. It has like all this radiology equipment and stuff like that, and I'm up on this gurney kind of thing, and getting I don't know, x-rays and stuff like that, and while he's working on me, so he can see where he's working, and so panic starts to kind of set in, and the nurses start running around the room. And meanwhile, I'm on the bed on my stomach, drugged, because I was sedated. Like, I wasn't fully out, but I was just kind of more or less drugged to the point where I was like, And I'm sitting there, and my head's off to the side. I'm lying down on my side of my head. I'm looking around, and all I could see is the nurses running around. And I'm going like, what the hell is going on here? So they said, Mr. Roach, we're done, but we need to get you in into this bed that we're going to wheel you upstairs. So into recovery, but we need to do it now because there's frankly there's an electrical fire going on next door, and the smoke is starting to come in through the bottom of the door. So I'm sitting there going, holy shit, like what am I doing here? So I get in, I get back on the bed. I don't know what they call them, the beds that wheel you around the hospital. And so I'm lying down on that, and three nurses that were in the room with me during the procedure were with me. I hear them say the power's knocked out of the whole hospital. So therefore we're not going to be able to get Mr. Roach upstairs to recovery because the elevators are shut down.
Right. Yeah.
I'm going, holy shit, now what?
They're going to leave you in a hallway is what they're going to do.
Well, guess what they did? They wheeled me to the main entrance hallway where, I don't know, every person who works in the hospital has to pass through to get out because that's part of the fire drill. So I'm on a bed laying on my back with three nurses around me. I'm still drugged, and this hospital has 2 floors, and where they had me was in the center of the lobby, I guess, if you will. And because I'm lying down, of course I can see up, but on the second floors they're all windows. And so you've got, I basically had an audience of people all around the top floor looking down into the main lobby because everyone was confused. What do we do? What are we supposed to do? I kind of felt like this was going to be like this for an hour. So they said, well, Darin, you must be getting cold. And I'm like, I don't know what I am right now. Like, I just came out of a procedure. I'm still drugged. Like,
Are you in a Johnny shirt? Did they at least cover
the whole
you
thing.
Up? Oh, cool.
I mean, the whole kit.
Cool.
Yeah, they put blankets on me and
Okay.
stuff like that. And but still, I was kind of like exposed to the general public.
Yeah.
I just came out of basically a surgery, but it wasn't as a procedure, they call them. So I'm in this lobby, and all of a sudden I go, God, we can't keep him here. I mean, sorry, Darin, like there's so many people running around here. We're really sorry. I've got people walking right beside me looking down at me, and I'm like, holy shit. So they said, well, let's move him across the way there. So they moved me across the lobby, and to your point, yes, they put me into a hallway that was probably no bigger than 10 feet long, door to door, and nurses kind of abandoned me except for one. So it was in there for another half an hour, and by the time kind of the dust settled and everything else, they got me up to recovery. And of course, at this particular hospital, recovery is not in a normal spot. They had me in the baby ward as to recover. So, and I ended up having to stay the night there that night because there was some pain happening. But to last Thursday, when I had this, I had a nephrostomy bag, basically, is a tube that was attached to my kidney. So I had that removed last Thursday, and I had to go back into that radiology room. And so when I went back in there, by fluke, all 3 nurses that had been with me the week before were in there, and they kind of looked at me and they looked at my name and they went, oh yeah, we're never going to forget you.
You're the fire guy.
You're the fire guy. So I said, great, this is awesome. And then of course, when that was all finished, they said, well, we'll probably see you here again in a couple of Fridays when we have to finish the job, if you will. So anyway, so that's where I've been the last 3 weeks. And man, I've been in some pain. I went through a lot of pain, and I'll tell you, Tosh, I'm a positive guy, through and through. I'm happy. I'm really energetic and everything else, but this took a toll out of me. There was a week of this 3 weeks, I was in rough shape, and I couldn't even do anything. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't want to do anything. Certainly didn't want to get onto a podcast and do my thing. I just wasn't ready for it. But anyway, so that's where I've been for the last 3 weeks, and it's the stone's still there. I'm waiting for one final surgery to get that sucker removed, and it'll all be behind me at the ripe young age of 46. There you go. So what's been happening since I guess 3 weeks ago, I think was our last one. What's been happening in the news?
Well, actually, I don't know. I didn't do any new stuff today.
Oh, awesome.
What I did do, because it's Valentine's Day,
Ooh, yes.
I'm going to tell you a little story about Charlie Brown.
Love it. Let's hear it.
Isn't that random?
Yes, okay. Super random.
Because I was looking up redheads and Valentine's Day connections. So Charlie Brown, there's been 2 Valentine's Day specials.
Yep.
And his Christmas specials, like the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There is the love of Charlie Brown's life, and she's a ginger. The girl that Charlie Brown always pines for is a ginger, and there's a reason for that. I have no idea what her name is, but it's not Peppermint Patty.
It's not. I think they reference her as the girl
redhead.
with red hair. Yeah.
So there's a reason for that.
Okay.
And that's because his first ever, like the guy who wrote Charlie Brown, Charles Schulz, his first ever girlfriend was a ginger. And her name was Donna, and they dated for 2 years. And he always loved her. So he wrote her into the stories. And when he says in the Charlie Brown episode, like, I just really wanted a Valentine from the redhead girl, he's talking about Donna.
That is so cool, which is probably why she's not named in the series or into the show or whatever. Just keep that between him and her.
Yeah. Yeah,
right?
I thought
really cool.
that was really, really cute. It was in 1961. The little girl with the red hair is what they call her. Was
the little girl with red hair? That's right.
Was talked about for the very first time, and it's something that all these years later, even after like the writer Charles Schulz has passed away, they still wrote her into. I think it was 2002 Valentine's Day, a Charlie Brown Valentine's Day. So I thought that was really cute.
I love it.
Yeah, I also love this, which came out of it. It's been about 14 years now that the Schulz Museum, it's in the Bay Area in California, on Valentine's Day, because of that, all redheads get in for free.
No way.
Yes.
That is the best.
Isn't that amazing?
That is the best. Wow.
Yeah, that was the thing that made me go, okay, I'm going to talk about that today.
Yeah, as you should.
Yeah.
As you should. Hop on that plane.
Yeah. Yeah, let's go.
But
I honestly tell you, I've never been a big Charlie Brown fan, but I think it's like not my generation, right? My mom loves Charlie Brown, and I obviously watch a Charlie Brown's Christmas every year.
Right.
But that's about it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's never really been my thing.
So
but now it's going to have to be.
Well, that's it. So what is your thing? So here's something I wanted to ask you. Are you a Valentine's gal or not?
No, I don't.
I kind of pegged you, but I didn't really want to say it ahead of you.
Yeah. No, I do big things like Christmas and Easter and Halloween. But no, Valentine's Day's never really been my thing. My husband and I are we just love each other so much every day. No.
Right.
The kids, but that's actually a stat that I found out. Was it 59% of couples will buy each other something? But when it comes to parents, 98% of parents buy something for their kids. And then 59% of them buy something for each other, which is true. We bought our kids, they got new slippers.
Right.
We're also very conventional when it comes to gifts. We're like, you guys need slippers. So here's some slippers. And then they got heart-shaped boxes. One got Smarties and one got Ferrero Rocher, because apparently my 10-year-old's tastes are really improving.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, moving up in the world. That's excellent. Yeah, we're part of the 2% that doesn't. Although this year seems kind of different. I think we're going to go out and pick something up here once the dust settles in the snow here and the plows come along. But no, we've been the same. I mean, as a young lad, in the dating scene, I guess, if you will, when I was younger, I put some effort and thought into it. But I think over the years of kind of not getting the reception that I thought I would get, or at least that I thought I'd wanted to get, kind of just dumbed that down. And I said, you know what? This is a bullshit holiday for shit like that. I'm not going to spend much more money on this.
Well, that's the thing. It's a waste of money. 6 billion. You can tell I work in the radio, right? Like, like I got all these facts about Valentine's Day because I just finished a Valentine's Day show. But $6 billion annually worldwide is spent on jewelry today.
That's crazy.
Why?
That's crazy to me.
I don't. Yeah, I know. I don't get it. But anyway,
$64 is the average cost per person for husbands, wives, or boyfriend, girlfriends. That's what the average spend is. I heard that this morning too, and I was kind of blown away by that, because like $64, like let's call it 65 because 64. I like being odd. Okay. It's not a lot of money, right? Like let's face it, it's not a lot of money, but it is a lot of money, because it's $64 that could fill your gas tank. You could get maybe half a bag of groceries, or maybe a quarter of a bag of groceries these days, depending on where you shop. But that, again, it's not a lot of money, but it is a lot of money.
Yep.
Do you see what I mean?
Totally. And that's why a major part of why Jason and I don't spend on Valentine's Day. Like, I can't see a reason to spend that money. I'm very Scrooge-ish, but I did, like, if we want to claim that there's gifts, I did buy us all new frying pans this weekend. So if that's not love, I don't know what is.
Listen, are you a cast iron pan person, or are you going Teflon, or what's your deal?
Non-stick. Because A, I'm lazy, and B, I'm not a very good cook.
Look, so I've got a couple of facts. You know, I've had some time to to look things up and do some research, and
okay.
Haven't been doing much else, to be quite honest with you. But something I was thinking about today that I had seen somewhere online, and I wanted to get your opinion on it. So it's kind of a fact, but it's kind of not. So Tosh, can you name me a redhead man in a lead role in movies? We talked about in the past redheads being jesters.
Right. Yes.
Way back when.
Yeah.
Funny jokesters. Redheads are always deemed to be fun.
That's true.
They're always deemed to be the sidekick. They're not the main, they're never the main character in a story. Let's be honest. Hollywood hasn't made a redhead man the lead guy that I can think of. And we need to change that. And I think our good friend Jenny Formica, she's doing that on the female side of things.
She's killing it. I can't wait to see her show. It looks amazing. I'm gonna tell you that Benedict Cumberbatch is a natural ginger.
Okay.
And he has starred in a lot. And right now he's actually up for an Oscar for his lead role in The Power of the Dog. So
is he a redhead in the show, in the movie?
Yes.
Okay.
Breaking barriers. Way to go, Benedict. Love it.
Somebody has to do it. Somebody has to. Hey, It's not him. It's his agent. So we have to give props to the agent. That's who's getting that shit done.
That's a good point.
Right? Like, the song "Don't Speak" by No Doubt. I don't know if you know this fact. Apparently, that song was actually written for redheads to sing to the norms whenever they say things that they shouldn't. And this is taken from the Big Redhead book by our friend Aaron LaRosa. So when you're singing to the norms, are you singing to non-redheads? That's what I'm thinking.
Normies. Yeah.
Normies, right? So don't speak whenever they say things they shouldn't. So if you're saying, haha, you're a ginger, the redhead in that song is saying, don't speak. Why do some men don a ginger beard? Do you know that do you know kind of where that comes from and why?
Well, I thought it was from the MC1R gene.
It is.
Okay.
Yeah, the reason is because they carry a mutated version of the MC1R gene. So, therefore, here's the question. Is it conclusive that men with ginger beards are carriers of the MC1R gene that could produce red hair?
I would think yes. Well, we've talked about this before. My husband was like bound and determined, and so was his mother, that there was no gingers in his family.
Right.
But he does have, and it's not as prominent as a lot of guys in their ginger beards, but when the light reflects his beard or his stubble, because he doesn't have a beard, you can see the ginge in it.
Jason?
In Jason, yeah. So like it's faint, but it's there. And we have a ginger child. I know that I'm like, everybody tells me Erin's not a ginger, but the older she gets, the darker her hair's getting and the more red it's getting.
Wow, his hair is dark though.
Oh, he's like, it's so brown, it's almost black. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yet we end up with a ginger and a blonde.
Crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand genetics.
Yeah. Who are we? Trust the science. Is that what they say?
Is that what they say? I think.
Yeah.
I think
where there's
so.
Listen, before we wrap this podcast up, I do want to bring that up. I do want to bring up you're in radio. You've been in radio for tons of years. You follow what's going on. You're a podcaster. You're a podcast business owner. You do everything that there is to do in podcasting. What do you think of the Joe Rogan saga? Give it to me in a quick sense. I don't want to dive into it, but what are your thoughts on what's happened there?
I think that Joe Rogan is allowed to say whatever he wants to say. I mean, you have a podcast to have the ability to speak your mind. That's what he's chosen to do. The point of having a podcast is to be able to share your story and to share your own thoughts. And if people don't like it, then don't listen. Right.
And so I said I wouldn't get into it, but I'm curious because that's a very interesting answer. That's a very good answer. But then I come back with, can you get into a situation where if you have influence, you can use that influence and twist that influence. I guess that's what I'm asking. Can you use a podcast of massive proportion to influence people's minds?
Yes, 100%.
And is that a bad thing? Or is it like you said, listen, if you don't like it, fuck it. You don't have to listen to it. It's just, to me, it's just like, how do people get down those rabbit holes of trusting and putting in trust in someone that they very well know doesn't have the backup to support the stance that he's on or whatever? I just haven't been able to figure that out. And it's the same with the freedom convoy that's happening in Ottawa, Canada right now. I just don't get how people, I know protests are important. People do that to voice their opinions and to get it out. But I also think that, I would like to think that most of those people know that that's not going to change. Like running into a city, hoping that it's going to transform policy. I just don't get the whole thing. That's all.
I think that, and my whole stance through this whole entire pandemic has been that we need to be keeping an eye on people's mental health. That's 100% of what's going on here. And that's how people are falling down rabbit holes, is because suddenly everybody is a conspiracy theorist because they've got the time to sit and think about it.
Yep, that's right. Good, very good point.
And it is scary. And they're not putting any effort, I think, into anything mental health when people need it more now than ever. Like that is the pandemic. Is what is coming down the pipe on people's mental health. And that, I think, is how people are falling down these rabbit holes and driving themselves crazy, is because they are being told information from this source or that source. And it just seems like so many people are having a hard time riding the middle line right now. And that's where the truth is in the middle line. You can't believe that everything this person's saying is real, and you can't believe that everything this person's saying is real.
Awesome. There you go. Well, listen, awesome show. This concludes Tuesday's version of the Authentic Ginger podcast. Thank you all for listening. Please do leave a review. We love reviews. Keep them coming. It's important. It helps us. It helps you. We all stay connected. And I think that is one of the most important things we can do in this pandemic, is stay connected and be nice to people. So Tosh, with that, I say, have a wonderful day.
You too. And don't forget, if you know an amazing ginger, we want to talk to them. So you can let us know. You can contact us through the show notes or through the Authentic Ginger Clothing Company website.
You've been listening to the Authentic Ginger podcast.
Become a part of the Ginger Nation by liking, subscribing, following, and leaving a review wherever you listen to podcasts. This podcast was produced by Tosh Taylor of the Podcast Hub Productions. Find her online at podcasthub.ca.